Hey everybody, First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Penn. It's about 8:40 when I'm recording this. I want to give you a quick update on the severe storms that are heading our way this morning and into the middle of the day. Let me show you the latest radar and satellite loop here, and you can kind of see what's going on. There's a system back to the west, making steady progress. I'm actually going to turn the temperatures off just for a second so you can see this loop a couple of times, and you can see the big line of storms heading our way from the west. That's the real concern. But even these storms out ahead of it, we're going to have to watch very carefully because some of these have shown signs of rotation this morning. But this is the main line, which is entering the mountains this morning. I told you 7 to 11 for the mountains and foothills. So we're starting to see that enter the mountains. I'm real quickly going to turn on the significant tornado parameter. And I'll go back and forth. You can see the scale is from 0 to 8 on the left. And you can see already this morning, some of these areas in blue and lighter blue right in here in the upstate, that's approaching a 2. So on a scale from 0 to 8, we're seeing 1s to 2s right now. We'll keep a close eye on that. Still, the biggest threat from this system is going to be straight line winds. You can see the Cape or that thunderstorm fuel right now. It's getting up there. If you look at the scale on the left, we start cracking 1,000 here, which is getting closer to the brighter greens. That's enough instability for these storms to feed off of. And the real story is the shear. The shear is really high, over 250, which the scale is on the left. That's the real concern. So let me go real quickly and show you the outlooks, all the updated outlooks for today. I'm going to show you the outlook first, the overall outlook. Not much change from last night. Storm Prediction Center obviously is a different scale, but it's still in our high range here. It's just a little bit higher areas east of I-77. So if you look carefully, there's a black line that kind of delineates the area where I think the highest risk is going to be today. So the high risk goes back a little bit farther to the west because of that squall line, but we still have a pretty high risk to the east. It's east of I-77 today that has me really concerned, but even west we'd have some issues. Our biggest issue today is still going to be damaging straight line winds, but notice the tornado threat has crept up into the medium range. We're not going to have isolated tornadoes in little cells. These are going to be embedded, and they're going to be fast moving. They're going to be hard to warn for, but really the wind should be your number one priority today. And just to reiterate that, this is just the wind damage probability. It's actually in the extreme range, which you're looking at 45 to 50% chance of damaging winds within 25 miles of any point on the map in that kind of purple area. And back in Charlotte, it's in the high range. So really off the charts kind of wind damage threat. And that's why the high risk is for today. It's really primarily for the wind damage, but there is that risk for tornadoes today. And just to show you from a statistical probability standpoint, and again, I'll zoom in just a little bit here so you can see this. The red is a 10% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of any point on the map. The orange is 5% chance of a tornado within 25 miles, and the yellow 2%. So that kind of puts it in perspective for you to kind of give you an idea on what we're looking at. So let's go back to this map real quickly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn everything off for a second, and we're going to look at just how this is going to progress today radar-wise. Let me turn the warnings off. So I'm going to look at the model data real quickly. And we're really stuck on all the short-range guidance now. So this is the short-range guidance from today, and I'm going to go through 10 a.m. So this is roughly 10 a.m., 11, this is 12. So right around noon, you see the scatter showers and storms. So look at this thing. The reason this doesn't look like it's moving through really fast, this low, which is back here, it's an upper low, these lines are pivoting back this way. So while the whole line is swinging like this, because the what we call the trough is taking on a negative tilt, the lines are actually tilting back towards the west. So it looks like they're slowing down, but it's just actually because the trough is becoming negatively tilted. Let's go to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and you can see that 2 o'clock, the 3 o'clock time frame seems to be kind of the perfect time or worst time for the Charlotte area. This actually, the returns look a little bit better than yesterday. I was really worried that we're going to see more of the squiggliness, and I still see it there, especially by 3 o'clock. You see that classic squiggling here. And I guess that is a meteorological term. No, it's actually what we call QLCS. The wind is pushing the storms out this way, and at the apex of every bow and at the bookends are areas where you can get rotation. So that's where you're really concerned. And because the tornado threat is so high east, these isolated cells east of us and towards the triad area and the triangle could start to spin, and in the Midland, or it's the Midlands up to the Sandhills of South Carolina into North Carolina. So just keep an eye on those. The I-95 corridor looks to be the hot spot. We're going towards now about 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and then 8 p.m. tonight. So I do think there'll be some scattered showers in the backside, but it's really this first line, folks. That's the biggest concern. And I'll go back real quickly here, and I'll widen it out for everybody who's not in the Charlotte area. We'll stop this at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m., 11, 12, 1, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Let's look at the current radar real quickly just to show you what's out there right now, because I think it's important. On the left, I have the reflectivity, and on the right, I have the velocity. So even in these little isolated cells like north of Charlotte, if you look carefully, there is a little bit of rotation in there, but the prob tor, we call it, is very low right now. So any of these isolated cells, we got to watch. Now, the reason we're going to see such intense wind today, and the reason we're concerned about some tornadic winds, is I'm going to actually do a little 3D slice here just to show you kind of what's going on. Now, these storms aren't very tall, but today what's going to happen is, I don't know if you guys, I can see, I'm going to tilt this so you can see the heights. Down here at the ground today, we've got very strong winds coming in from the south and southeast. Up here around 10 to 15,000 feet, the winds are coming in from this direction. And then up here at around 20,000 feet, they're coming in from this direction. So as the storm builds up into this, the wind's actually changing direction with height, and that would cause rotating updrafts. So these shallow storms can't tap into that because they're not all the way up into those higher levels. As these storms get taller, like the ones we're seeing down here, these are much taller storms. They're getting up there. If you look at the tops, they're up around 30,000 feet. So as these storms get taller, that's why Chris and I were showing you heights Sunday with the severe weather. That's why the height of the storm is really important. I'll loop this just to give you a couple ideas on where these things are moving. But you can see the whole line is trying to move east, but the individual cells are wrapping back around into that low pressure. So you can see we've actually had a couple tornado warnings with this little area down here in the upstate, and that seems to be the area to watch. But any cells today are going to have the potential to rotate. So I'll go back to this real quickly. We'll turn off, I'm going to turn on all the current stuff so you guys can see what's going on, if there's any watches or anything. Right now, no watch is imminent, but you can see the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect to the southwest, and there is a little bit of sun trying to break out here, which is not good news because dew points currently are in the mid to upper 60s. So there is enough instability. I think there's plenty of instability, unfortunately, for these storms to become severe. So please stay weather aware today. Right now, the forecasting part of this has kind of gone away, and it's really about forecasting short term, each storm, where's it going, the track of the storms that are rotating. So it's really about the warning process now. So as warnings come out today, please, please, please take these warnings seriously. Remember, the warnings today aren't going to be your normal warnings. There is a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere, and you need to take all of the warnings today very seriously, because at the very least, I'm not saying everyone's going to see a tornado today, but I'll say half of us are going to see some damaging or really close to damaging winds, which are 60 miles an hour or higher. That damaging wind threat is going to be over a huge area, and likely everybody is going to see some type of rough weather today, whether it's a tornado down to just a thunderstorm. So everyone's going to get in on this action, especially in the middle part of the day. Be safe, be weather aware, and definitely be weather ready.